Hey lovers of whiskey, I'm Luke. I'm here to do some whiskey reviews. Today's whiskey is going to be Ardmore. This is Ardmore Traditional Cask, I think is how they classify this, if you go and look at their website. This is an interesting whiskey, Ardmore. It's a Highland malt. It's peated, somewhat peated. What do they say on here? Lightly peated Highland malt. Let me pour some out. So I bought this a while back, sort of on a whim, because it's got a relatively low price compared to other single malts, or at least maybe it was on sale at the time I bought it. But I think it is actually relatively cheap. And then when I pulled it out to open it up, I realized that they're kind of following the Ralphie advice of bottling at 46% alcohol, not chill filtering. But I think they might be adding some color. Color-wise, this is like an amber, like amber +1. So a little darker than I would expect in a something that's matured in just bourbon oak. But they do. So if you go look at their website, they have information on how they mature this. They mature it in bourbon barrels for a while, and then they swap it into quarter cask for a bit. So it's supposed to give it a little bit of additional sweetness and good vanilla flavor and whatnot, and kind of smooth it out. But also they have this funny like 3D tasting chart that you can go look at and add your own tasting notes to. I don't know, kind of interesting. Anyways, Ardmore Traditional Cask, lightly peated. Let's see what we get. Nose. So pepper. Smoky, slightly smoky, but pepper is what I get initially. It's got a sweetness that's not, so if you go and smell a blended scotch, it's got a very corn syrupy sweetness. This sweetness is more like a richer caramely toffee sweetness. And it doesn't really have that corn syrup sweetness there at all, which is kind of interesting to me. It's kind of it's a rich sweetness, but it almost feels hollow somewhat without that little bit of corn syrup sweetness backing it up. I don't know. So I'm getting a little bit of leaves, dry leaves. It's rich, kind of heavy, kind of thick in your nose. What else did I write here? Oh, right. The saltiness is not striking, but definitely there. It's kind of a fresh sea air, saltine cracker saltiness. There's the sweetness and the smoke come together like a piece of sweet ham. And when I have ham, like I get a piece of ham from the store, and then I'll cook it on the stove, and then it will be delicious. But before I cook it on the stove, it smells like somewhat like this. So kind of sweet, hammy, but not so much smoky or barbecued. Even though this is peated and a little bit smoky, it still has that more of a lighter sweetness kind of ham smell. There's also a little bit of anise, a little bit of licorice smell in there. All right, taste. Malty, then pepper, then the alcohol kind of hits you, and it fills your mouth. Get a little bit of a bitterness, not off-putting, and then now it's just kind of settling down, more of that white pepper kind of taste. Maltiness in the back of your throat. Dry. Overall, quite a dry whiskey. It reminds me a lot of Kalila, actually. Just in that dry, kind of light, like citrus rind, kind of a pithy tasting whiskey. It's good. Let me add a little water. It's 46%, so it does take a little bit. Now let's have another go. So now a little bit more of the youth is coming through. I'm getting that papery smell that I've noticed in younger whiskeys. It just comes across a little bit what's the word? It's just a little off. That paper, I'll have to find a better word. If I come up with something, I'll put it in another review. But it's still quite sweet. The smokiness does go down a little bit. You can kind of get more of the sweetness after adding water. A little bit more of that Highland character. Taste. So, the alcohol kind of explosion goes away a little bit with water, sort of expected. The pepper is still there. It has a little bit more sweetness. It seems almost like maybe not more body, but more completeness as far as flavor goes, which is sort of odd to me, but it just tastes more like the whole picture is there, I guess, in my mouth. Okay, right. So Ardmore Traditional Cask. They have a few others. I think they have some 25-year-old, 30-year-old, something like that. I think they might have one that's even cheaper than this, although this was what I found in my area. My rating for Ardmore Traditional Cask, 86 out of 100. I think this is a pretty interesting whiskey. And if you like peated whiskey, if you like Kalila especially, give this a shot. I think you'll have fun with it. It's pretty interesting. Conclusions, surprisingly tasty. I didn't expect what I was going to get out of this glass. It just caught me off guard. I sort of was expecting kind of a flat, boring whiskey, and it turned out to be pretty interesting. And also, there's nothing particularly bad going on. It's not kind of like blow your socks off whiskey, but there's not anything that really sets me off as far as something I don't like, you know. It's not bitter. It's not like, I don't know, like sulfur kind of notes that you would get in a sherry whiskey. Just nothing really off-putting about it. So it's kind of I think that if you sat down with this and started to really enjoy Ardmore, there could be some people who probably drink Ardmore as kind of a peated whiskey, relaxation whiskey, you know, not too demanding. So, anyways, I will leave it at that. And until next time, whiskey lovers, I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.